Okay. So, correct. Okay. Good evening, everyone. So we are continuing with our lecture. I think last week we talked about modular programming. So today we are to discuss about file processing. So you can remember that the last week Friday, so we touched it briefly, but today we are majorly focusing on file processing. So I want to believe that if you are online and you are following, can you type yes so that I can be sure that we are together? Can I see your chat? Okay, good, good. All right. So let's continue. So when we are talking about file processing, so we want to start from how to undo file in Python. So the file handling is a fundamental concept in Python programming. So that enable interaction with files, whether reading the data or writing the data or performing other operations, whether you want to uh, alter a data, probably operating a change in a particular data. I remember we've seen some format of data so far, I think from that last class, where I've said that data can be in form of CSV, in form of JSON, in form of HTML, in form of XML. So we see all this. So that's why the file handling is important. So if you want to read it, to open it, probably you have a data set you want to open it in your Python environment, how to do that, or you want to edit the particular file, change, making some modification. For people that are in this, I think I've mentioned this last week that when you are the kind of person that used to analyze data, so there's what we call data cleaning. So when you are doing data cleaning, we are likely going to touch the data to edit it, so probably to remove some things that seem to be outlier or things missing data, how to replace them. So it will affect the original data. So that's what we are saying, how to handle those stuff. So Python treats files differently based on their type. Yes, we have text files and binary files. So understanding this distinction is crucial for effective file manipulation. And like says, Python supports various file types for engine, so which with each type designed for specific use case. So the two primary category are text files and binary. So that has been mentioned, though there are specialized formats, the likes of JSON, CSV, and others. So below are some of the important use case of files operation in Python. So you can see it here. So it is vital for managing data storage and retrieval. Example include log management. So writing application logs to track events, data storage to save preferences or configurations, file passing. So reading data from CSV, JSON, or HTML files. So to report generation, so writing output files for analysis or record keeping. So you can see this screenshot that is there. So this basic syntax for creating file in Python is showing this what I title listing one. So file open, so the type of the file, the mode, what you want to do with it. So if you want to read the entire file, these are what you can put read file, the particular file read. If it's a specific number of characters you want to show, so you specify, in this case they put 10, so to show that's up to 10. So read a line at a time, so that's the keyword there, read line. So read all lines into a list. So that's the keyword there too. So a more elegant and safer way to work with files is using the with statement. Yes, using the with the block ends, even if an exception occurs. So as compared with the listing one. So let us read this one. So using the with, so it means that at the end we close it. Remember the list one did not have that way of closing it immediately. But this one automatically when it ends with the use of this with statement, so it will be closed. So that's the difference. Automatically close the using uh, it will close be closed using the with statement. So user can also handle data that is not in English format by adding the coding format. So let us see the example below. So you can see it's with this open. So the encoding keyword there is just UTF hyphen 8 as F. So it means that non-English language. So that don't generate an error. So put that encoding code that is there. So advanced data handling with encoding, very important. So Python provides extensive support for handling different type of files through its built-in libraries and modules. So below we discuss various file type and how Python handles them, along with code and some code examples. So the text file, remember I said that we have different formats of data. So let's start with the text files. So the text files store data in a human readable format using character encoding like this ASCII or UTF-8. So each line in a text file is typically terminated by a new line character, that is the this slash n. So to say that okay, go to a new line. Commonly used text file types are the .text, .csv, .log, and .json format. So this is an example, a typical code of that of the text files. So you can see it's there what you can do. This keyword that are there, the W has its meaning. The R that is also there also has its own meaning. So the A that is there, that is to append. You can see it is commented there. So you can see appending new content. So that's the meaning of that A that is put there. So the binary files, okay, to get. So the binary files store data in a format that is not human readable. So the data is stored as a series of bytes, and interpretation depends on the application's context. So common type for binary files are so the JPEG, PNG, MP4 for audios, MP3 for video. So MP4 and MP3 for video and audio. So the JPEG, those are for images, and some executive files that are exe. So you can see this short code to explain that. So writing to a binary file. So you have that. You can see this WB. We see a table that explain all these keywords A, R, W, WB, RB. So what they all mean. Okay, the CSV files now. So for people that are already used to using Python to do data science or data analysis, I think CSV should not be new to you. Now, and I'm sure of that. That's a new type of file, so which is files that are commonly used for tabular data storage. Yes, Python as CSV module provides. method for reading and writing CSV files efficiently. For this, how to open, you can see writing to a CSV format. So you have to, of course, to import that CSV. Python already has it already as a library that is already inbuilt. So you can see the CSV dot what you want to do with the file. So you can write a writer. That is, you first of all open the file. So the file here is called like example. So dot CSV. That is to say that it's in a CSV format. It's a CSV document. Then you open it and then read that. So you read it. Or if you want to write, so you indicate according to the action you want to do on the data. So the CSV files are extensively used in data analysis. So I think I've said that. And machine learning, transferring tabular data between systems and integrating with spreadsheet software. So the JSON files, so also use store data in human readable formats that are widely used in web development and API communication. Yes. So Python as a JSON module makes it easy to handle the JSON files. So how to open them. So the same techniques like how to open a or how to write on a CSV format. So you just put the name of the file you are importing in and then you put it with dot JSON, then the W. So it means that you want to make it okay, writing to a JSON file. Yes, that's the meaning of that W that is there, that keyword, and reading from a JSON file. So that R that is there after you importing the document or a JSON document. So the R there makes allow giving you the instruction that okay, I want to read from that particular file. Then when you print out the content, so you can see the file, you can read it. So the JSON files are pivotal in applications like storing, configuration, setting, sending and receiving data from web APIs, yes, and serializing Python objects. Majority of the developers send data into okay data in form of JSON rather than XML. Yes, that's when you want to get data on the web. So it's mostly JSON formats. Okay, okay. I believe. Okay, someone is asking which course is this. So you don't know the course you are joining for. So this is CSC 201, right? This CSC 201. So, so I believe we are together. Continue. So I believe you are following me. Okay. So the XML file. So you can see from what we've done the type of data. So we have the data can be in type of CSV, it can be in type of JSON, it can be in type of text, XML, and so forth. Okay, so the meaning of XML is extensible markup language. So it's another data format for storing structured information. So Python has this module. So it's a module that handle the XML file. So the XML E3 elementary. So to handle any file. Remember that when we were to use CSV, we import CSV library to come in so that it's for X if it is our next XML data format that you want to read or write to, you have to import this particular module XML dot E3 dot element 3. So to make it that okay, I want to use a XML data format, or else there will be an error. All these imports, they are already inbuilt in Python. So it helps in passing and generating XML. So XML files are common in configuration. Data exchange between applications and interfaces with web services. So for instance, we have, all right, I hope we are together. Okay, I can see that we are together. Okay, I can see somebody saying yes, and you people are following me. Okay, so another format is pickle files. So that pickle files allow storing Python objects in a binary format for later use. And the module provides method to serialize and deserialize objects. So these files, type of files, are used for saving Python objects like machine learning models or catching data. Like I said, if you are somebody that want to go into data science, data science is a combination of data analysis with the machine learning that is coming. So things like that. So because of that, so this type of data format will be needed. So you can see report it, everything is already inbuilt. This module that we need for that input. So it's already inbuilt. So you just type imports and then you type the title. So you write to if the your file is in that format. Remember, it's a binary format. Data that are in Inco files are in binary format. So you can see how to put it. So to write that or to read from it, get to the others, the CSV and the JSON data format. You can see the difference. Okay, I'll continue. So Python ability to handle diverse file format ensures its applicability across industries from web development to data science and machine learning. So the simplicity and power of Python as file handling make it an indispensable tool for developers. Here are some areas where developers or programmers where you can make use of that of Python. I think you already know the advantage of Python. So, why, as a beginners in the world of development, I mean the coding, Python is good for you to start with because Python is very fast. You can develop a website with Python language. You can do data analysis, data science with uh, Python language. You can build some AI app, machine learning models with Python. So it's something that you have to give your best even beyond this class so that you can improve and then deep your learning. Yes. Okay. So data processing, so where it can be used. So text and CSV files are extensive use data analysis. That's in the industry where you can use that Python program. The developers and programmers can use the Python. In web development, so the JSON and XML are essential for web APIs and configuration files. In multimedia applications, so binary multimedia, this deal with audio and video, so can handle media content like images and audio. Yes. Machine learning, so Pinko files save and load train models efficiently. So there are other formats like, yes, of course, HD5 or H5 in which machine learning models can be saved. Okay, so understanding file modes. Second point, yes, understanding file modes. Remember that I've said that we have been seeing all these keyword R, W, X, A, and B. So I said we get to the explanation of each so that you can understand what they mean. Okay. Uh, Python supports various modes file operations, so each tailored to specific use cases. So the table one discuss various file modes operation used in Python. So we have it. So overview of file modes in Python. So R, what is R used for? Description of it. So it's opening a file for reading. So that's the default mode. So file must exist or an error occurs. So if you say you want to read a file, so you must make sure that the file exists, of course, or else it will show up there that what you want to read does not exist. So how to open that file so that you can read? So file equal open, so the name of the file, and then the type, depending if the type is text, then you put that txt and you put r. You want to read it new, then reading content from file. So that's it. The W, so it's open a file for writing. So it creates a new file if it does not exist. So in case that you want to write a file on the file existing one, but if it does not exist, so it will help you to create a new one. So that's it. So how to do that? So you open the file and then you add that keyword, comma, that W. So writing or overwriting content in a file. So the X that is there, what does that use for? X help you to open a file for exclusive creation. If the file exists, creation fails. So how to do that? So that is, that is if you are exclusively want to exclusively create a file, but if the file that you want to create already exists, so it means that it will fail because there is no need for creating a new file here. So this how to do that. You open this the name, then the type, and then you put that X to say exclusively a new file you want to create. So safely creating new files. So A, so open a file for appending at the end. Yes. So it creates a new file if it does not exist. So you open it and say, okay, at the end, I want to add something. So adding new content on an existing file without modifying current content. So you just have to, you want to add, so the existing one will be there intact. So you are just adding to it at the end of the existing one. So the B opens a file in binary mode. So that's what B stands for, binary mode. So that is for the binary mode. Okay. So to open it in binary mode, so you open the file and then the type that it is. So you put it there, the format, and then the RB. So to read a file, binary mode RB. So working with non-text mode. So that when you are talking about binary mode, so non-text, there's one that are not humanly readable. So non-text files like images or the executables files, like probably something that we call the format of a setup. So the T letter, what does that stand for? Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? Please, I want an answer before I continue so that I won't be talking to myself. Can you all hear me now? If you can, please send yes to that. I will know. Oh, okay, good, good. So the person cannot hear me. Can you try to probably your network? So okay, you are hearing me. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Good. Okay. So T open a file in text mode, and that's by default. So you can see it there. We so open it and reading or writing text files. So the plus opens a file for both reading and writing. So you can see it's modifying files, reading and writing. So the R plus opens a file for reading and writing. So file must exist first. So reading and updating files. So if you want to update the file, so you can use R plus. So W plus opens a file for reading and writing. So it creates a new file if it does not exist. So create if does not exist. Okay, good. All right. Before we proceed, I want you to uh, take note of your attendance. Code, the first code. So take note of that. W6A. Take note of the attendance code. First code. W6A8Z. I repeat, attendance code W68. Wait, W6A8Z. 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 So, that's the first attendance code. Okay, so we continue. Yeah, yeah, I think you got it here. W6A8Z. Yes, so that's the first code. So we continue. So with now A plus, so open a file for reading and appending. So it's create a new file if it does not exist. And then X plus, so it's open a file for both explicit creation and reading or writing. So it failed if the file exists already. So that is that. So it's safely creating and modifying new files. Now let's now move to reading files in Python. Reading files in Python. So Python provides robust support for file handling, making it simple to read from and write to files. So in this section, so we explored different methods and best practices for reading files effectively. So method for reading files. So when working with files in Python, you can use the following method to read file content. So the read, you can see the read and then the bracket. So the read method reads the entire content of a file as a single string. So it is useful when dealing with small files. Here is an example, of course. So you can see that code, or if you want to read that particular file, example is a text and you want to read it and you have already identified it as file. So you put take then the contents that particular file, you use the keyword read and then you print it as so it will print out all the content of that file. So that's why, but it will be somehow if the file is in the, I mean, it's too much like the big in terms of large. So that's why they say it is good to use that for small files. So if it is too big, so for you to read everything out, so you can see, you can imagine how it will be. So it's good for small files. So to use that and read everything. So then read line. So the read line method reads one line at a time from the file. So it is beneficial when you only need specific lines. So I use that one if it's a specific line that you want to read out. So the remember the second was the read line, but this one read lines. So it reads all the lines of a file and return them as a list of string. So there's difference between that. So the other one was for a specific line, but this one all the lines. So iterating through file content line by line. So for efficient processing of file content, so you can iterate through the file object directly. So this approach uses less memory compared to read lines since it reads one line at a time. So the method is particularly useful when working with large files as it avoids loading the entire file into the memory. So you can see. Okay. Then well to then handling large files effectively. How to handle large files efficiently. So large files require careful handling to prevent memory issues. So here are some strategies. So process it line by line so that you iterate through the file line by line so to avoid loading the entire content into memory. So the line, so the process line by line. So you adopt that. So in case that you are dealing with a large uh, file that is so large, and then use buffered reading. So that one allows you to control the amount of data read at a time. For example, so you can see the example of codes that are there in dealing with that. So, or utilize external libraries. So, for extremely large files, consider using specialized libraries like Pandas for CSV or TVS, yeah, TSVS. So, or IRO for binary format to handle data more efficiently. So, I think if already you are someone that is already used to analyzing data, you know what Pandas stand for. So, it's not new to you. Okay, good. It's not new to you. So Pandas is very useful when we are talking to okay, you want to analyze data. If you are dealing with the files like CSV format, so you need Pandas. It's a good library for that. Okay, so the memory mapping, that's another thing that you can adopt. So it's another efficient technique for reading parts of large files. So it can be used for this purpose. So that you just use the ports. The library is already uh, inbuilt. So you just call it out, you import it, and then make use of it. So, uh, what again? So writing and appending to files, writing and appending to files. So Python provides straightforward methods for writing and appending data to files, enabling efficient and flexible file management. So this section now will now address the method in detail and highlight key considerations. So writing data with write and write lines. Writing data to files in Python can be done using the keyword write and write lines method. So these methods are commonly used in file operations. Write, that method writes a string to a file, so it does not add any new line, any new character automatically. So the user must include it if required. Example, so this is the file you want to write on it as this. So you put that file, write whatever you want to write, and then remember this slash n. It will take you to the new line. We've explained that's what it stands for. So and then you add what the new line you want to add. So it is there. This is a new line. So this will create a file name output test, yes, with a specified context. So maybe let me communicate the second uh, code to you. Uh, yes. Okay, take note of the Second code, attendance code. Take note of that. RX2XZ. RX2XZ. Oh, I believe you've taken note of that. Z. Okay, good. Continue. RX2XZ. Yes, correct. RX2XZ. Yes. Okay. So we've just talked about the right. Then when it comes to right line, so that method writes a list of strings to the file. So unlike write, so it does not add new line characters between strings. So you must include them in the inputs. So write line is useful when you already have data stored in a list format. That's where you can make use of that method. So now appending data using the keyword a, that's what we use to append data. A, so mode. So the A mode, append mode, of course, allows you to add data to the end of an existing file, so without overwriting its current content. So this is particularly useful for logging or innovative data storage. So for example, so the keyword, so you are saying that, okay, open this file for me. The file is output and is in text format. So put that in, telling it that you want to append new things to that. So if the file does not exist, so it will be created. It will be created in case that this file that you mentioned output does not exist. So it will create a new one. So the A mode ensures that existing data remains intact while new data is added at the end. So take note of that. So it maintain the integrity of the existing one, and then it add new entries, a new data to that. But not that not like it will change it. No, it's just add, and this addition will be done at the end of the existing file. So overwriting and appending. So the difference, key differences. So when working with files, understanding the difference between overwriting and appending is essential. So overwriting, that's W mode. So the W mode truncates the file to zero length if it already exists, effectively deleting its content before writing new data. So use this mode when you need to replace the entire file content. So if you want to overwrite a, data, I mean the file that you already have, so W, that is the one that will be used to overwrite the existing content of the data. You can use W, but when it comes to A, we've already mentioned that appending does not replace, does not. So it retain the existing content while adding new data at the end. So that's the difference between the W mode and the A mode. Okay. File handling with context managers. So context managers in Python simplify file handling by managing resources efficiently. So we are to explore how to use the context managers for file location advantages they offer. So using the with open statement. The with open statement is a common pattern in Python for file handling. So it ensures that a file is properly closed after its operations are complete, so even if an error occurs during the process. So here is a basic example. So we have this file that, okay, we will open it, then in a read mode, so we want to read it, and then we say, okay, print out the content of that particular file, and the file name here is example. So we print it out so that you can read it. So and you can see the example text, the text format is in read mode R. So the file is automatically closed at the end of the with block. So the with statement eliminates the need to explicitly call file close. So it will close it by itself. So majority of the developer do forget to close the file after use. So this can lead the file to attack from another user. Yes, because when you are done with something. So handlings exception gracefully. So if an exception occurs within the with block, so the file is still closed properly, ensuring stability. So this is an example of that. Example with exception handling. So the use of try except. So you can see the file not found. If it is not found, so what will now come? So it will print it out for you to tell you, okay, the file that you are trying to read does not exist. Remember that I said that before you can ask a file to be read, it means that that file already exists. So if it does not, so the use of this control that you put there, the try and accept, so it will print it out, tell you, okay, in case that the file does not, to say, okay, this file that you are trying to open, example test that you want to open, does not exist. So that you be aware that it kind of people use that as the reason that why it's not open, that it does not exist. So in this example, even if the file is missing or an error occurs while reading, so the file closure is managed automatically. Okay, writing cleaner and safer file handling code. So context managers encourage writing cleaner and safer code. So here are some tips. So combining file operations, so you can perform multiple. Okay, okay. So you can. I hope you can see my slide now. Okay. Yeah, you can see it now. If you can't see the screen, are you sure? Can you check back again? Yeah, thank you, fix. Good, good. Okay, so combining file operations, so you can perform multiple operations within the with block. So with open this, so you can see. So this example demonstrates so simultaneous reading from one file and writing to another. So that's what it says. So That is reading this same code, so it can combine multiple operations. So it's at the same time reading example test file and also writing to output test file. That's it. So managing large files efficiently. So the with statement is particularly useful when handling large files, so as it ensures proper memory management. So for instance, so we have this with open large, that's the name of the file. So you want to read it, and so for chunk, eh, this and that, lambda. So we use to, okay, you say that process that so that is there. So okay, from that, remember we said that we want to make to handle large files. So to handle that large file and to also ensure that the memory is well managed so that there is no waste of using uh, memory for things that you can avoid. So you won't waste the memory by occupying it with things that are not necessary. That's how to undo that. So leveraging context managers libraries. Many Python libraries are can use context managers for file like operation. So for example, the gzip module for compressed file. So you can use that. So you can use the keyword. So you import it first and then you say that okay, with this, open this and that. So that's the keyword, the gzip. And the type, if it's a zip file, so you use this word gzip as the type that will be used to open the file. The file there is example. Remember the one that we have been opening was in form of text txt, but this one because the zip file you use gz. So the error handling and best practices. Okay, effective file handling in this involve managing errors. Yes, in case of errors, so and adopting best practices to ensure smooth and efficient operations. So these sections will discuss efficient error and this screening technique. Okay, the first one, common file handling errors and their causes. Okay, file handling operations can encounter various errors. So understanding these errors files in designing robust applications. So some common errors include the file not found. Yes, the file is not found. Probably you want to open the file, you want to read the file. Yes, let me use that language. You want to read the file and the file is not found. So this occurs when attempting to access a file that does not exist. This will easily break your code. So for instance, you want to open non-existing this, the name of the file as this, and then the content, and then when you want to read it, there's no file that is named like that. So we have another error. So permission error. So this occurs when the user does not have the required permission to access or modify a particular file. Is a directory error. This occurs when a directory is accessed as if it were a file. That's another error that can happen. And another one is value error. This occurs when an invalid mode or operation is used in file handling. Okay. Uh, so using try and except to control that the error. So the try except construct allows graceful handling of errors, ensuring that the program does not crash unexpectedly. So it also gives more information to the user to know which type of error in case an error occur in the program unexpectedly. That is, it will give you an information of what exactly was wrong about the particular error, what type of error it is, what is exactly the issue. So by specifying that between the try except construct. So that's what you can see there. Okay, try this, open, read the file with that code, that R. So it's coming that to open it. So when trying to open, if there is an error, so file not found, so except is there. If the file is not found, so this is what it print out. Error, the file does not exist. If it's the case of a permission error, this is what it will print out. If it's the case, so depending on the case that is uh, happening, so you will see what will be printed out using this try and except construct. So this approach ensures that specific errors are addressed while other exceptions are also captured for debugging. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good. You can see my screen, I believe. Okay. Good. You can see the screen. You can see the slide. So the tips for safe and efficient file operation. So yeah, some okay, use the with statement. So with statements, we help you to close your okay the with statement ensure that files are automatically closed after the operation. So to avoid your uh, code or the system to be being compromised. So the wait statement will help you automatically after doing the operation that it's supposed to do. So it will close it. So that is a good place to adapt to take note of. So validate file paths always. Okay, always check if the file path exists and is valid using libraries like OS as another way. So handling large files. So efficiently use line by line reading or chunk based processing for large files. Another thing, backup. Back up important files, very key. So before performing write operations, so create backups of important files to prevent data loss. Yes, remember that we've said that when we are using the write uh, keywords, so write will do what we modify the content of the existing file. In fact, you can change it entirely and then write a new things there. If it is writing a new thing and probably that particular new thing you are not interested in that, or it is a rubbish something that you is not what you intend to do. So if there is no backup, or I mean saving it somewhere else, so how then are you going to come back to that file? Or it was probably it was a mistake that it was not that particular file that you had to write inside. So how then are you going to get it back while you are already uh delete it or replace it with a new content? So that's why it is good for you to back it up before you start using that right. So before you start writing new things, that's it. Okay. After that, so the last, I think that should be the last one. So ensuring cross-platform compatibility. So file handling operations may behave differently across OS, that is operating system. So to ensure cross-platform compatibility, so use OS parts, dot parts, so for parts manipulations. So the OS parts module provides function for handling file paths in a platform independent way. So also normalize line engine. So use the new line processing. Okay, and I believe all these things you've been doing it for your tutorial. You have been doing some practical on that, how to declare a function that was done in our last class, how to use all this. I think if you are probably yet to do it, you will definitely do it before your exam, so where you can practice all this. So, okay, that's good. All right. So that is the end for file processing. So any question in the comments? You're asking for third code. Okay, any question from the this topic, file processing? Eh, no question. So what you apply is the third code. Okay, it's all right. Please, what I will just encourage you is practical, so that by attending that, so all this that you are been taught, so you'll be able to practice them and then see all these errors that I said, that how to control it with the try exception. So you should be able to try something, and if an error can happen, you should be able to handle it, so that the error will be specified by telling you if it is what type of error it is. Is it that the file is not found? So you should be able to control that. So by attending this practical, so it will help you, so that it won't be just a brain knowledge, you just know it in your head, but you can't practice. So as you know, you are this is a computer course, and you are better when you can put what you learn in practice. When you are facing with an assignment, let me say, or a practical question, and then if you are able to solve it, so that will make you, that people will say, okay, yes, you know it. So that's it. So be attending the practical, and then ask questions to the tutors, and they are ready to answer. If you are encountering any error, probably with your system, with your ID that you are using to do your own uh, assignments, they are always available to answer. So if I know that maybe you have been taught with different ID, probably you want to use the VES, you want to use the light of Jupyter or PyCharm, anyone, just ask, and you can see that different things that you can go into with you knowing the Python programming language. You've mentioned many. Talk about web development, data science, data analysis, uh, what again? Even mobile app can use it. All right. Uh, the last code for the class, the last code. Okay, take note of that. Let me, uh, last code, last code. Okay, JE. Take note of that. JEGHS. JEGHS. So last one. Okay, JEGHS. So I believe you've taken note of that. JEGHS. Yes, correct. All right. All right. Since you said that there's no question, so we are stopping here for today. All right. Goodbye and have a wonderful weekend. Sir, can I end the stream? All right. All right. Hello. Yes.